So I know that we have a super fun game planned for today. It's called Rock Race.
Whoa, I heard that we were going to be doing the rock race today. And unfortunately, Dwayne The Rock Johnson isn't joining.
I know,
but there's Pebbles, there's Sylvester the Stone, there's
Shamrock,
and
Rockamole.
All right, so who do you think is going to win, Emma?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with Pebbles.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. I think maybe Shamrock is going to win.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Well, why don't we see? Let's check it out.
Do you guys like to rock? I mean, like, seriously, rock out. Yeah, me too. Oh, wait, but not like with drums and guitars and stuff. No, I mean like racing rocks, dude. It's totally gnarly. I know. You're all like, rocks can't move, Kyle. Well, of course they can't move. They're rocks. But they can totally sink. Here, I'll show you. You see these 4 rocks? I'm gonna drop them all in the water at the same time, and we'll see which one makes it to the bottom first. To make it even more fun, why don't you guys pick which rock you think will win? Just run to the corner of the room that matches the rock you want to cheer for. I'll even give them names. In corner number 1 is Rockamole. In corner number 2 is Sylvester the Stone. In corner number 3 is Shamrock. In corner number 4 is Pebbles. All right, run to the corner with your favorite rock. We're gonna get this party started in 3, 2, 1. Whoa! I think this is gonna be a good race. Oh, look out, there's a jelly, dude! Looks like Sylvester the Stone is in the lead. Oh, but Pebbles is like totally right there, man. Whoa, dude, was that a shark? Oh man, I have no idea who's gonna win! I think Shamrock just took the lead! But Rockamole's coming fast, dude! Bro, I can't even look, it's so close! They're almost at the bottom! Rockamole for the win, bro! Wow! That was awesome! Thanks for rocking out with me, guys! Catch you dudes and dudettes later!
Oh, I really thought Pebbles was gonna win.
Oh man, Rockamole just took the lead right at the end. But that was a lot of fun to watch. That was good.
And I'm definitely ready to Yada now. Yada means to know God and to be known by Him.
When we know God, we can't help but Yada. Yada means to praise God.
Yada yada, my friends.
All right, now that we've watched the rock race, I think it's time that we check out what's happening in the club.
I agree. All right, bye.
Bye.
Luke, I'm exhausted from all that dancing.
Woo! Me too.
But let me tell you, we're getting pretty good. I think we could maybe enter a dance competition or something.
Pretty good. We're amazing. And you're getting really good yourself, my friend. You've
Thanks,
really
pal.
improved. I taught you all your moves.
You did?
In fact, I'm pretty good if I do say so myself.
I think I would say so myself also.
I'm fantastic.
Good. Agreed then.
Yeah.
You're an amazing dancer.
Thank you, sir. Hey, did the newspaper come today yet?
It's supposed to. You know what? Maybe Pooh Pod took it to warm up his little nesty nest in the woods again.
You better not have that little stinker. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Okay, I'll be right here. Thinking about Pooh Pod stealing newspapers. Any luck, pal?
I don't see it.
Where is that newspaper? Where is that Pooh Pod? That doesn't sound like a newspaper, Luke. Are you okay?
Oh, I did find some paper.
Toilet paper?
Hmm.
Good, because that would be weird if you were eating toilet paper.
It's wrapped around the candy.
A candy wrapper?
So I unwrapped it. Wasn't newspaper.
Peculiar.
So I ate the candy.
Okay, cool. You know, kind of makes me wonder. Speaking of wonder, I wonder what's going on in the case of the missing Mr. McFuzzy.
You're right.
This is hopeless, Detective Dale. We've been walking these woods for hours. We're never going to find any clues.
Harry, I have something important to tell you about Mr. McFuzzy.
Okay?
But first, I want to tell you about Gideon.
Okay. Who is Gideon?
Gideon is a man God chose to save his people from danger. God told Gideon if he led his people into battle, they would win.
Okay, and did they?
Yes, of course they did. But before all that, Gideon tested God.
Why?
Because he wanted to be sure God would do as he promised.
Did he? I mean, what did he did?
What he did was he left a fleece, which is like a coat, out overnight on the ground. And he told God, if the coat is wet and the ground is dry, I'll know it's really you. The next morning, the coat was wet and the ground was dry.
So, Gideon had faith to lead Israel?
Not yet.
Okay, now I'm confused.
He tested God one more time.
Okay.
He left the coat out on the ground
Okay.
again.
Ground
And this
wet,
time he
okay.
told God, if the coat is dry and the ground is wet,
We'll switch for
the other way around, I will know it's really you.
Okay.
The next morning, the coat was dry and the ground was wet.
Okay. And then, Gideon had faith?
Yes, Harry, he did.
Why are you telling me this?
2 reasons.
Okay.
One is to show you God is patient with us,
That's okay.
especially
Okay.
with our faith. He
Good.
won't give up on us, and if we ask him to grow our faith, he will.
And the other?
I found Mr. McFuzzy's jacket.
What? Oh my goodness. Detective Dale, you're right. That's a little bear's coat.
Indeed, I told you, Harry, you just need to have a little more faith.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I usually am. But not to worry, God will be patient with you. He will help you grow.
That's good.
He hasn't washed it in days.
Whoa. They have to be close to solving this mystery.
I mean, especially because they found Mr. McFuzzy's coat.
Good old Dale and Harry sure are working hard.
They are working hard, not hardly working.
Am I right?
You
Am
know-
I right?
I kind of wish I had a hat like Sheriff Harry. It's just always full of donuts.
Oh, it's like he's got a Timothy Hortons under there. Hey? Can you imagine a donut a day to keep the... Nah, I don't think that'll work. I don't know.
No, something tells me if we ate that many donuts in that many days, we'd probably be going to the doctor more, not less.
Or the dentist.
Maybe both.
Yeah.
Wait, are dentists doctors?
But our doctor's dentist.
That's deep. I think it depends on who you're asking.
I think, you know...
I don't
we got questions like that.
Time for G-Dub?
Time for some G-Dub.
Let's fill up on
let's
that
fill
instead of
up on
donuts,
G-Dub.
eh?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Hi friends, it's Miss Leah here. Make sure you have your Bibles with you and we're gonna get started.
Bibles. Oh.
Did you bonk your donut factory?
Right, the old honey cruller. Oof. Hey? So my ear probably looks like a honey cruller now.
Or cauliflower?
Oh, yeah. Honey cauliflower.
Ew.
Ooh. I mean, ew.
Yeah.
Friends, detectives are constantly looking for clues. Checking clothes, taking fingerprints, tracking cell phones, tracking footprints. Pretty much detectives will look for any evidence to help them form some theory as to what happened in their case. A man named Gideon understood this. He wanted some evidence that God was really with him. Let's take a look at our story video now to see what evidence Gideon found.
Israel continued to disobey God. They had fallen into idol worship and neglected God's commandment to worship Him and Him alone. For this, God's punishment was heavy on Israel, and He gave them over into the hands of the Midianites. For 7 years, Israel suffered terrible hardship under the oppression of the Midianites, who, along with the Amalekites and people from the east, plundered Israel's livestock and produce, leaving none for Israel's own use. The people complained to God, and He sent them a prophet to explain why this hardship was upon them. It was their sin and disobedience that had caused it. During that time, there was a young man named Gideon. He was beating out wheat in a winepress when the angel of the Lord appeared to him and said, "The Lord is with you, O mighty man of valor." Gideon wasn't feeling very brave or very happy. If the Lord is with us, then why do we suffer so much? And why are we being oppressed by the Midianites? The Lord then looked at Gideon and said, "Go and deliver Israel from the hands of the Midianites." Gideon was in shock. How would he, a young man from the weakest clan of the tribe of Manasseh, be able to deliver Israel from the Midianites? The Lord replied by assuring Gideon that God would be with him. God was going to give him the strength to fight the Midianites, and He would give them victory. Gideon was in disbelief. If this indeed was true, he needed to make sure that God was going to pull through. He then proceeded to ask the angel of the Lord for a sign. "If you will protect me and help me, then give me a sign, and I will believe you." So Gideon went in to prepare a food offering to God. When he came out, the angel of the Lord told him to put the food on a rock, and proceeded to touch the food with his staff. When that happened, fire sprung up and consumed the entire food offering. At that moment, the angel of the Lord vanished from Gideon's sight. God just showed Gideon a mighty sign. That night, God continued to work in Gideon's heart, preparing him for the big task ahead. He told Gideon to break down the statue of Baal his father built and cut down the Asherah next to it. These false gods were what got Israel in trouble. Israel was still foolish enough to believe that a wooden statue could actually help them, instead of relying on the one true God. Gideon was still scared and needed more courage. He asked God for another sign. This time, he was going to lay a wool fleece outside. If, when he awoke, there was dew on the fleece, but none on the dry ground, he would be sure that God was with him. Just as Gideon asked, it happened. The next morning when he woke up, the fleece was wet, and the ground around it and everywhere else was dry. God listened to Gideon's request and gave him a sign. But poor Gideon was still scared and needed more reassurance. Gideon then asked for a reversal of the first sign. This time, he asked God to make the ground wet, but keep the fleece dry. And so it happened. The ground was wet, and the fleece was dry. This time Gideon knew that God was really going to use him to save Israel from the Midianites. The next morning, Gideon and thousands of men assembled together, waiting on instructions from the Lord. The Lord knew that Gideon had to understand and see firsthand God's miraculous deliverance and victory. For this to happen, Gideon's army needed to be less in number. There were simply too many warriors. If they won, they would surely take credit for themselves and not give it to God. So God told Gideon to let all the men who were scared go home. Immediately, 22,000 of the 33,000 walked away. There were only 10,000 left, and this was too small a number to battle the Midianites. Gideon was confused, but continued to trust God. Then Gideon took the men to a stream of water. God told Gideon that all men who drank from the stream bent down like dogs should go home as well. Those who scooped up the water in their hand could stay. Out of the 10,000 remaining, only 300 men remained. There they went. Thousands of capable warriors left Gideon's army, and only 300 remained. God really wanted to show Gideon that victory comes from the mighty power of God, not by the strength of men. That night, Gideon and his tiny little army looked down at the huge Midianite camp. Gideon trusted God, but the Midianites were so many. So God told Gideon to go down to their camp and spy on them. When he did, he returned filled with courage. The Lord once again strengthened his heart, and Gideon was finally ready for battle. With his tiny army, Gideon launched the plan of attack. He gave each warrior one trumpet, one torch, and a jar to hide their torch. In the dark of night, they would stand on the mountains around the Midianite army. When Gideon blew his trumpet, it would be a sign for everyone else to blow theirs. Then they would break their jars and shout, "For the Lord and for Gideon." They carried it out exactly as planned. When Gideon gave the signal, the 300 men blew on their trumpets and shattered their clay jars. The sound of shattering pottery echoed off the mountains, filling the valley below with the noise. The Midianites were awake, confused and scared. They looked up at the flickering torches all around them, heard the crashing sound of the breaking jars, the piercing blasts of the trumpets. They didn't know what to do. In their confusion, they grabbed their weapons and started running and fighting anyone and everyone, thinking they were battling Israel. It was a sight to behold. The confusion spread so rapidly that the Midianites ran away. Gideon and his 300-men army pursued them, and it was not long before they defeated the mighty Midianites. That day, God delivered the Midianites into the hands of Gideon. God's mighty power once again proved that he was the one true God, and that he wanted to bless and protect his people. All Israel had to do was to put their trust in God and serve him alone.
Israel was in trouble, and God had a plan to save them. God needed Gideon to lead Israel into battle against the Midianites. But Gideon needed some convincing evidence that he would not be going alone. Gideon wanted to know beyond a reasonable doubt that it was God speaking to him. He asked God to do a miracle, and God did just as he asked. Then Gideon asked God to reverse that miracle just so that he could know without a doubt that this was for sure real, and this was for sure the plan that God had for him. God was patient with Gideon, and he gave him that second miracle. God wants us to have faith to begin our journey with him, but he's not afraid of us asking him for evidence. He will be patient with us because more than anything, He wants us to love Him as much as He loves us. We'll see you next time, friends.
Wow. The case of the mysterious fleece. One day wet, the other day dry.
You know what? Kind of makes me wonder. Maybe we could ask for donuts in our hat every other day. Just like the case of the mystery fleece.
Mac, is a donut a day really going to help remind you that God is calling you to lead the Israelite army to victory?
Fair. I guess Gideon's reason for asking God was just a little bit more serious.
But guess what, my friend?
Chicken butt?
No. Guess what, my friend?
Okay, what, my friend?
Well, when I went down to look for the newspaper, I found a little bit of change. And I think I had enough to buy us some donuts.
Donuts? Awesome!
Yes, sir. Let's go. I'll race you to the bikes.
Yada-Yadah, my friend.
Yada-Yadah, Mac.
Oh, look at that over there.
Nice drive. Let's go.
I think we could enter a dance competition.
Pretty good. We are amazing. And you're getting so good, Mac. You really improved.
Thanks,
And
bro.
I taught you all your moves.
You did?
In fact, I'm pretty good if I do say so myself.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
We should enter a contest.
Yeah, I already said we should enter a contest.
Newspaper.
But guess what, my friend?
Chicken butt, my friend?
No, my friend.
Okay, what's that?
I found some change while I was looking for the newspaper earlier. And I have enough to buy us some donuts.
Yay! Wasted the good surprise on me.
Hey, and a gum, sweet. All right.
Awesome!
All right. Well, we know it's gonna land. We
Yeah.
know it's gonna land.
Yeah.
Okay.
God told Gideon if he led Israel into battle, they would win.
And did they?
Well, of course they did, but before all that, Gideon tested God.
Why? Why did you test them?
Because he wanted to be sure God would do as he promised.
What did he did? I'm definitely saying that. I'm gonna say that in real life now too.
And then I'll do the little...
Yeah.
He left a coat out overnight.
Why are you telling me all this?
2 reasons. 1, to show you God is patient with us. Especially with our faith.
And
He won't give up
yep,
on us.
Keep
And
going.
if we ask him to grow our faith, he will.
Good.
If we ask him to grow our faith, he will.